So good morning everyone. In the last lecture we have seen what do you mean by the timestamp, the what do you mean by timestamp ordering protocol, what do you mean by the timestamp, the different timestamp. One is nothing but a physical clock, another one is nothing but a logical counter. W timestamp means what, R timestamp means what, and the ordering protocol. There are two cases when the transaction TI launches or issues the read request and when the transaction TA issues a write operation. So in each cases there are two sub cases are there. So that also we have seen, and then I have told you what do you mean by deadlock handling. So if there is deadlock, then how to handle that we need to that we are going to study. Okay. So So here you can see I am having a deadlock handling. So in deadlock handling we are having deadlock prevention, then deadlock detection. First of all we need to prevent the deadlock. Then if suppose in anyhow the deadlock occurs, then we should detect the deadlock, that the deadlock is there any deadlock or not, right? So what do you mean by deadlock? First of all, right, if in the system there are number of transactions, and if the transactions are waiting for the other transactions, right, if the transactions are waiting for the other transactions and the other transactions are waiting for the other transactions and so on, then there will be a chance of deadlock, right? Like if I am saying I am having t1 t2 t0 t0 t1 t2 up to tn are the transactions. T0 is waiting for the data item which is held by the transaction t1. T1 is waiting for the data item which is held by transaction t2 and so on. So the example also I have given you that, but still I'll give you one more time. You can see if I am having transaction T1, if I am having transaction T2, if I am having transaction T3 and so on. Suppose this transaction T1, this transaction, okay, I'll start from here. If this transaction T1 is reading a data element A and writing a data element A, right? This particular transaction T2 is writing a data element A, and this particular transaction T2, here I am writing data element B also, and here I am reading the data element B, and I am reading data element C. So you can see here there will be a deadlock. How? Because this data item A is currently held by transaction T3, but T2 is waiting for it. You can see there is a T2 want to have data element A which is currently held by T3, and T1 is waiting for data element B which is currently held by transaction T2, right? So you can see there is a deadlock from T1. T1 is waiting for T2 and T2 is waiting for T3, right? So in this way, if such situation occurs, then it is called as deadlock. Then there is a deadlock in the system. Okay. I am not talking about deadlock of these processes. I am talking about the deadlocks of the transactions. There. Then how we are going to prevent the deadlock? How we are going to prevent the deadlock? There should not be any deadlock. First of all, right? So there are two conditions which will prevent the deadlock. How? See, the first one is timestamp based technique. Right? There are two techniques. There are three techniques are there. Okay. The first one is the timestamp based technique. Here I am having the timestamp. If the timestamp of transaction Ti, if the timestamp of transaction Ti is less than the timestamp of transaction Tj, then what will happen? If such situation occurs, if the timestamp of transaction Ti, sorry, if the timestamp of transaction Ti is less than the timestamp of transaction Tj, then in that case, when the transaction Ti requests the data item which is currently held by Tj, then Ti is allowed to wait if and only if it has a timestamp smaller than the transaction Tj. Otherwise, Ti is rolled back. Mean to say, if I am saying I am having transaction here, I am having transaction Ti, and here I am having transaction Tj. If suppose I want to have here I am reading the data value of A, here I am writing the data element A, and this data element A I want to read here. Suppose I want to write the data element A here. Suppose, then you can see the data element the if I am saying the timestamp of transaction Ti is definitely less than the timestamp of transaction Tj, right? Because you can see it is happening roughly around at if for example if I am saying it is roughly around at 1 p.m. and this is happening around at 3 p.m. So the timestamp of transaction Ti is less than the timestamp of transaction Tj. So in that case, what will happen? In that case, the transaction Ti is allowed to wait. When it will be allowed to wait? It is allowed to wait when, see, the transaction Ti which is requesting the data item which is currently held by Tj, then Ti is allowed to wait when, if and only if the timestamp of Ti must be less than the timestamp of Tj. So you can see in this case the timestamp of Ti is definitely less than the timestamp of Tj. But if I am having this scenario, suppose if I am having this scenario, I want to write the data element A. Now in this case the timestamp of transaction Ti is greater than the timestamp of transaction Tj. So in that case then the transaction Ti will get rolled back. It is not allowed to wait. The transaction Ti will die. Okay. So that's what he is saying. If this condition fails, then the transaction Ti will get rolled back. Then I am having the another condition. The another condition is saying if the timestamp of transaction Ti is greater than the timestamp of transaction Tj, this condition, whatever I am speaking, this condition, okay, in this condition what happens, that we'll see. Because you can see the timestamp of transaction Ti is greater than the timestamp of transaction Tj. In that case, what is saying, see, the transaction Ti wants to read the data item which is currently held by transaction Tj, then Ti is allowed to wait. When it is allowed to wait? If and only if the timestamp of transaction Ti, the timestamp of transaction, the timestamp of transaction Ti is larger than that of transaction Tj, then Tj is rolled back. In this case, you can see the timestamp of transaction Ti is greater than the timestamp of transaction Tj. In that case, the Tj will get rolled back. The Tj will be rolled back. याच्या अगोदरच्या कंडिशन मध्ये काय होतं, when there was a when the timestamp of transaction Ti is less than the timestamp of transaction Tj, in that case the Ti was supposed to roll back. But in this case, when the timestamp of transaction Ti is greater than the timestamp of transaction Tj, in that case we need to roll back the transaction Tj. Getting? So these are the two conditions. Apart from this, you are having one more, and this condition is called as the wounded wait, because this transaction Tj is wounded by transaction Ti. This transaction Tj will be wounded by transaction Ti. Why it is called as wounded? You can see because the outer transaction is the transaction Ti is having a larger timestamp than the transaction Tj. That's why this transaction Ti is wounded inside the transaction T1 or Ti. In the previous case, in the previous case, this transaction Ti, in the previous case it is called as wait and die. Means what? The transaction Ti will wait, right? And if the condition doesn't satisfy, it will die. But in the second case, when the transaction Ti is having the larger timestamp than transaction Tj, then it is called as wounded wait. Why it is called as wounded wait? Because it is wounded by transaction Ti, because the Ti is having the larger timestamp. Okay. Then apart from this, one more what I can say technique is there to prevent the deadlock, that is called as the timeout based technique. This timeout based technique is called is what? A transaction that has a request for a lock for a particular data item. It waits for a particular time period. If the lock not get granted by the system, then the transaction is said to be timeout, right? And that transaction gets rolled back and restart later. As the name itself suggests, what do you mean by what do you mean by the timeout based technique? You can see it is called as timeout based technique. In timeout based technique, what happens? See, I'll show you with the help of an example. If I am saying I am having transaction Ti and I am having transaction Tj, this transaction Ti is holding a data item A. If I am saying I am applying lock X on data item A, I am reading the data item A, I am writing the data item A, but I have not released the data item. This transaction Tj wants to read the data item A, right? Wants to read the data item A, but this particular transaction Ti is not yet released the data item A. So how this particular transaction Tj will get the chance to execute this? Because I am using what? I am using the exclusive lock, and in exclusive lock only one transaction is allowed to use that particular data item. No other data item will be allowed to use. No other data item is allowed to use the no other transaction is allowed to use that particular data item. Okay, so that's why this particular transaction Tj will not be allowed to use that particular data item. So in that case, what will happen? In that case, this particular transaction Tj will wait for a particular time period. If I am saying that it will wait for 1 minute, right? It will wait for 1 minute. So once this 1 minute is over, once that 1 minute is over, after that it will get timeout. So the transaction Tj will get timeout and it will get rolled back. It will get rolled back. Okay, so that is the meaning of timeout based technique. Okay, there. So this is the deadlock prevention. What I can say, this is all about the deadlock prevention. Okay, now we'll move to the other topic, that is called as deadlock detection, right? But I will record this separate video because the video will get much larger if I'll continue in the same video. Okay,